Hello guys, welcome to My Finance Teacher. I hope you guys are having a nice weekend, and what we're doing now is we're looking at the price of Bitcoin. Just as we mentioned in the previous video, there'll be a link somewhere at the top of the screen. Over the last week or so, Bitcoin has been climbing from this level at about 6,500 towards several resistance levels somewhere at 7,000 and beyond. So Bitcoin has finally reached this 100-day moving average. That's one of the resistance levels that might prove to be formidable. And beyond that, there is actually a chance that Bitcoin might continue climbing further over the next, well, let's say several days or a week towards the price range at about 7,600. There are a couple of other resistance levels over there that I think are even more likely to be proved formidable, which are the 200-day moving average and this upper border of the descending triangle within which Bitcoin has been moving since, well, February this year. So since February this year, Bitcoin has been respecting the borders of this triangle, and that pattern might continue, although we see that in the last 3 days Bitcoin actually came down a little bit. So whether Bitcoin continues to break from here or continues to climb towards the upper range of this descending triangle, in either case, in the medium term, what I mean by that is, let's say over the next, well, let's say a couple of months, several weeks, I am bearish on Bitcoin. I see that Bitcoin is going to break below this support zone somewhere close to 6,000, and the next formidable support zone below that is at about 5,000. Why do I say that? Is just as I mentioned before, these descending triangles, more often than not, they break on the downside. So that's one of the reasons why I see Bitcoin breaking below 6,000. Another reason is this support has already saved Bitcoin several times, and it cannot keep doing that forever. If Bitcoin doesn't have any significant rally over the next month or so, bringing it above the previous peak at, let's say, 8,500, then there is just going to be an even greater chance of lower lows, and those lower lows might finally indicate an end to this bear market that we've seen since December last year. Because, well, I still think that we need some sort of capitulation in Bitcoin price, because if you look at recent news, I just googled Bitcoin price, and we're looking at several recent news. A lot of them are not bearish at all. For example, first one here, European Union tightening crypto regulations. Okay, that's not bullish. That's not the point that I'm going to make, but it's not very bearish. Bitcoin loses 7,000 amid market-wide price correction. They only call it a correction, so there is no fear on the market as of yet. Experts say cryptocurrency must hold this price level. So there are some people who are still expecting these price levels to be held. Nothing bearish over here. Bulls defend uptrend line, so some bulls are still hoping on the uptrend line that Bitcoin has been giving us over the last couple of weeks. I assume that's what it's about. So there aren't, what is this? Bitcoin dives down below the 7,000 price level again. This might be somewhat a bearish news. I don't know without looking at the details, but in general, next upside targets for Bitcoin. So some people are expecting some higher targets in the future. That might be short-term future, because at the moment I'm trying to see people's expectations over the next short term to medium term, because in the long term I am bullish in Bitcoin as well. Bitcoin dips below 7,000, but key support still intact. So still some bullish sentiment over here. So there aren't many bearish news on the Bitcoin at the moment, which just tells me that we haven't seen the lows yet. When everybody is depressed, when everybody is really bearish on Bitcoin, that is when this bear market is more likely to finish. So we still need some sort of final capitulation in the market, final sort of scary price decline. So for that reason, to sum up, over the next week or several days, I think Bitcoin might still keep rising towards 7,600 or 7,500. Although after that, or anytime soon, it might roll over and give us a break below this support level. That might happen, as I mentioned, maybe over the next, well, say a couple of months. And that would give us a Bitcoin cycle with more or less usual duration of a couple of months or so. Actually, that would be somewhat of a stretched Bitcoin cycle of, well, that actually would be 3 months, but that's not something extremely unusual. On the other hand, what are the possibilities for a bullish breakout? Well, the possibilities for that are not that great. As I mentioned, we must see prices beyond the previous peak at least, which is higher than 8,500 per Bitcoin. And whenever two prior peaks are broken, that's a much stronger indication of a more healthy uptrend. So that would give us a target close to 10,000. That's 9,900. These are my expectations over the medium term. In the long term, I'm still bullish. I'm with you guys, and let me know what you think. Comment under the video, hit the like button, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Thanks a lot.